Today, with us, we have Mr. Aaron Chan, representing Palo Alto Networks. We're going to present the ideas about the topic in our Cyber Podium session. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Aaron Chan.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Shall we wait for a little bit longer to have more people joining us? Can you hear me from the back? I think you can, all right? Okay. So welcome to the last session for the presentation, right? So I'm from Palo Alto Networks. My name is Aaron. I'm just going to talk about the really what's really happening and how do we achieve better security efficacy with artificial intelligence and machine learning. I think this is generally buzzwords you probably hear every now and then, right? Sir, where are you from? Deloitte. Okay, cool. And the ladies over there at the back? Masiniaga, welcome. So there must be probably something that interests you that we are here, right? Okay. I'm just going to breeze through very quickly and talk about the threat landscape today, not just to bore you down with all those numbers and whatnot. I think generally it's really the kind of malwares that we see today is becoming a lot more sophisticated. I think if you have followed the news, right, you will know that these adversaries, they are using AI actually today to do their adversary activities, right? Just like how the defenders, right, people like us on the good side are trying to keep up to the evolution of threats. So, and another aspect of this thing that really happening is IoT becoming more prevalent today, right? I think this IoT has been around for a long time. I think this number is growing, right? It goes into the billions, multiple billions, and the more exposed, the more IoTs you have out there, right? That means there's a lot more attack surface, a lot more exposures for threats, right? That's the general rule of thumb. And of course, the explosion of applications today are not just basically on enterprise apps, right? It's really the SaaS apps. Today, what you're using, like it or not, 80–90% of the applications you're using out there actually are own your applications, and these are all residing in a cloud, right? These are all the SaaS applications. I think more generally, the enterprise applications that we see are the Microsoft 365, right? You have a Google Apps and whatnot. So these are all the general applications that you use that we are so used with and so comfortable, and we forgot about the security. We might actually overlook the security side of things, right? Perhaps the organization who are doing all these controls, they also lost sight of what the users are using really, right? The shadow IT. These are all the challenges that we see, right, today. And I just want to land on one point here, right? I think there is a thinking that in the past, right, how the industry or maybe the market's addressing cybersecurity challenges basically are getting more latest, newest technology in the network, right? So these piecemeal solutions addresses very specific problems, right? Some for endpoint, some on network, some on advanced threats, whatever you call it, right? And we have done a survey and we found that a lot of organizations very much so that they have more than 5 to 10 applications, security tools alone in an environment. So this is so many tools that they actually invested, and how actually they achieve efficacies or better security operations, right, is always a question mark. So we're saying that more point products doesn't mean that it's a good thing, right? Of course, you look at a very sideload or piecemeal, it makes sense, right, to address certain problems, but it does not really address the whole concerns on operations. The more solutions you introduce, the more challenges you have. Learning curve, right? The OPEX, sometimes your CAPEX also increases. And worse still is today we are plagued with these challenges of human resource skill sets, right, to address security challenges. So we go through the logs and whatnot. These are all the problems that we see facing organizations, and this is real, by the way. So if you talk about advanced threats today, how do we really combat against them is that we have to use a very different approach, right? If you think about how IPS was being used in the past, or even how people address security concerns today, is really based on what they know, right? Or maybe to a certain extent, they may have introduced certain technology capabilities to catch up with zero-day threats. But then the response still becomes still a problem because it's not real time, all right? So if you really look at how security should be addressed today is about using very different approaches, such as deep learnings, neural networks, technology, right, or even machine learning, AI. Those kind of stuff actually are being a big topic, and is being used by cybersecurity companies, organizations like Palo Alto Networks to address these kind of challenges. Because, like it or not, the adversaries, like I pointed earlier, right, they are just as fast, right? They will they will do whatever they want, right, they can within the arsenal, right, to launch cyber attacks on organizations who are probably more vulnerable in that sense. And the other aspect is how do we look at address these kind of challenges, right? Not just using AI and ML, but really thinking about how do we address the challenges real time. Is it possible? The question, yes, I think it's possible if we have enough data, right? Good data, bad data to actually train the AI models, right, to make it more efficient in that sense. So we'll also look at the other part of cybersecurity strategy today. If you talk about a lot of organizations, actually we have had conversations with many customers out there, and these are the kind of questions we ask our Mr. Customer: how many cybersecurity tools do you actually have in the environment? The response is usually, oh, I have 5, I have 10. Imagine some US organizations, they have even more than 50 security tools. And what does it mean, right? If you have more of these kind of tools, then you need a lot more actually human resource, right? People to address or to work on all these technologies. Not scalable in my opinion, right? And there's just a study that's being done, right, by our cybersecurity team, is that a lot of us respondents, a huge chunk of our respondents came back and said that, hey, actually, platform approach is still probably the way to go. Of course, it's not going to be one single security tools, right? Not single vendor, but the idea is to reduce as many overlays, right? That means overlapping technologies. Some technologies you see that they have similarities. They have maybe technology A have something that addresses certain things, and then a technology B also have something to address that same problem, right? But they are overlapping in that sense. But when it comes to the logs and also the threats that you see, right? A lot of information, right, becomes a fatigue, right? Those log alert fatigues that organizations are facing today. So what we believe, right, moving forward with the current macro economy, a lot of companies are really CISOs, right? CIOs are looking how to optimize their spending, and it's really about not buying shiny toys, right? The latest and fastest technology out there in the market, but really look at best of breed from a single vendor, right? It's really a platform play, right? So that's how we look at driving consolidation, and on top of that is really bringing in the capability of AI and machine learning onto the platform as well, right? That's the way to go about. Now, if you look at how customers are using Palo Alto Networks to achieve zero trust, this is actually our one snapshot, right, of our technology, our capability. Not really about piecemeal solution anymore, right? It's really a integrated play from Palo Alto Networks, addressing every single aspect of the network, whether it is on-prem, cloud, endpoint, Even today, we talk about SASE, right? It's a big topic as well. So we think that the traditional way of thinking, right, or the industry's definition of zero trust is about providing first access control only. That means the moment they only check the very first time the access of the users. After that, once it's validated, good to go into the network. So this is the traditional way of controlling or achieving zero trust. And it does not really address the zero trust for cloud. Does not address the zero trust for endpoint and also the data, right? Applications, so on and so forth. What Palo Alto Networks do is really doing a continuous validation checks, continuous. So, and as well as constant security inspection of threats as well. And how do we do it, right? Using our platform. And if you notice that we have our advanced threat prevention, this has really evolved from the past, right? I think if you talk about, if you really evaluate other technology, I won't name names, other firewall vendors out there, generally they do have similar capability as well. But really what Palo Alto Networks actually, in fact, why are we so different from our competition really is because we are the very first company in the industry, right, that introduces machine learning on the firewall itself, on our platform even, in our technology, right? It's no longer how fast our firewall is, no longer like how many security tools we have, but really when we combine all this power of threat protection, prevention, malware identification, right, putting it all together, right, it gives a very powerful network effect to our customers. And more so, right, do you believe about the power of crowdsourcing? Do you know what is crowdsourcing? Right? So it's like if you have a wealth of information out there, the best way is to share it with other people, right? And that's exactly how we do it. For example, right, one customers of ours saw a zero-day threats. We learned that threats, and eventually we share that kind of information with the other customers out there. And what does that create? Actually, it really gives a very powerful network effect, right, to other organizations, because tomorrow someone in US, right, may have not seen this malware, but for some reason, because someone else have seen it, because it's crowdsourced, they get real protection real time. That is the power of our technology, right? And we have done that many, many years already. But again, I just want to highlight a couple of things. One of the biggest call out here, right, in this slide is that you get unified, constant, a unified control policy control across network, cloud, as well as SASE, using a single management console, right? Then again, from operation side of a point of things, right, is that really you don't have to worry about how many console I have to manage, right? That is really a problem. The other one that I want to call out is, of course, we can do prevention of malwares, unknown malwares, real time. That's the reason why we can achieve that is because the machine learning that I brought in, that was 2 years ago. And we strive to improve our capability and technology using AI and machine learning. And I will share with you later how do we achieve that. And regardless whether the users are on-prem, inside network, outside, today talking about hybrid workforce and whatnot, right? The security control they get is constant. It's the same, right? You go coffee shop, you connect to your network, you get the same security inspection. You work from, it's the same as you work from the office. So that kind of treatment, right, is really consistent across it's like you get the same security everywhere, right, anywhere you work. That's exactly how we want how we're addressing our customers' challenges today. And with that, we can actually drive zero trust for our customer. Again, zero trust is not just about network parameter, right? It's also about application, data, identity, the users, right? All this has to be taken care of. And Palo Alto Networks, in fact, is only cybersecurity company that pretty much covers all of them, right? If not 100%. Just a number with AI. I'm not going to bore you again with all this huge number. Just that why I bring up this slide is because with AI, right, we we are really driving better security outcomes, right? That's the topic of this today's session. And we talk about advanced threat prevention, what we are seeing, like how many threats, C2, that we are addressing, how many malwares we are seeing, how many bad domains we are seeing, right? Every single day, right? These are all very staggering numbers, right? Very eye-opening, okay? So just to give you an indication what really happens, right, when we are exposed to the network. I'm not going to share every single slides about our products. Just want to flash out one single slide, perhaps just to give you an idea that our solution actually addresses from the smallest branches to the largest data center out there. And today we are on the 4th generation of our Hawaii platform. Better TCO, higher performance with lesser throughput performance, right? In terms of the investment. So on the far, I think on the right-hand side, your right-hand side, I believe. Yeah, okay. So this is actually our chassis-based appliances, but of course we have a fixed platform with multiple kind of different interfaces. Today, our smallest units also can go into small environments like the SMEs, right? Even for all the way to the largest data center you can see, right? Today, who are we serving as a company? We are actually a Fortune 500 company, cybersecurity company, the largest in the world, by the way. And at the same time, we are serving the 80%, 90% of Fortune 500 customers as well. So you can imagine what is our reach to our customers around the world. Talking about this advanced threat protection, right? Really, it's more like doing dynamic analysis. And I just want to call out one thing, right? Is that, again, right, whatever I'm sharing with you here is all using artificial intelligence and machine learning. How are we really addressing sophisticated attacks? Is something like this, like intelligent memory analysis. All the advanced threats out there, right, malware are really using, they can avoid detection because they can run within the memory itself, because that is the hardest part, right? Because a lot of times when malware wants to execute itself, it happens on the hard disk. But the more modern malwares today are also using memory analysis, right? Sorry, using memory. So we are with our dynamic, what do you call that, inspection, or when we run this malware, right, in a VM environment, we can also check for memory analysis. Of course, automate unpacking, something like the obfuscating, right, the malware, right, by using open source code to compress the file, right? These are something that cannot be cached by some of the APT vendors out there. And what these guys are all trying to do is really to cloak and also to hide themselves from a plain sight, right? And with this new advancement that we are bringing in with the advanced, what they call that, APT, which is our Wildfire, it delivers 26% more from what we have done, what we are capable of in the previous release, right? This is just a comparison with our own technology. What we are saying that right now is this advanced capability, we are increasing by a quarter, right, of our efficacy. So that is a lot improvement on our advanced APT. And combined with advanced APT, obviously, is that we have our threat prevention. Last time, threat prevention is already based on database, right? We all know about, if you're not catching zero-day threats, it's really about database. Just like antivirus, how would they respond to threats today is that actually it's already dead, right? Like it or not, the adversaries today are becoming, like I said, very smart. They would not actually use the same method or techniques all the time. They keep changing, right, and evolves itself. And it's very hard to catch zero-day attacks if we don't use advanced technologies like AI. So the other part of really like, I think IPS is also evolving, is taking shape as well. IPS last time is really based on signatures, right? How do we actually prevent zero-day exploits? Because today we see a lot of malwares like Log4j. I'm not sure whether you heard about 2021. Log4j was a big problem, right? And then it's so rooted into the web application, right? And of course, a lot of organizations got impacted. And how do we really look at, address all these kind of challenges really is look at what the bad guys are doing today. I just want to call out one thing, right? Cobalt Strike. It is actually a red teaming tool. Okay, so it's a pen testing tool, very powerful. The bad guys, right, actually are using them, right, at their disposal as well. And today they are also being offered as a service. What I mean by offered as a service is you can pay certain X dollar amount of money. You basically then get your, you can use that tool to launch attacks against someone else, right? And with that, right, actually we can deliver 96% better efficacy. And also today, with another part of our technology is the command injection within our threat prevention subscription itself. So net basically it's really to give the customer a lot more protection capability, right? And also doing some level of zero-day prevention, especially on the vulnerability side of things. Okay, so much on the injection and also the protection against powerful tools like Cobalt Strike. Everybody talks about URL filtering, right? What's so special about URL filtering? Today is not just being able to categorize the URL that the user is going to, but really is to be able to pick up, right, very quickly in real time. By the way, I'm talking about real time here, right? On the communication, right, from a unsuspecting user to the C2 servers. You have to do this, really. Because I can guarantee you, right, there are two things that we are seeing right now. Every single attack that happens today involves two things. One is C2, call out, and number two is using DNS. Okay? So actually to achieve better security efficacy is not just about having the best APT, not having the best threat prevention, but also to look at the communication. How does the user, right, the victim, a compromised host is talking to the C2? And of course, is there any way to cut the communication to the C2, right, by having a DNS protection? All right, so the other part of our technology or our platform, right, is next generation CASB. You heard so much about how we use AI to enhance our capability and all that, right, protecting malwares. But the other side of things is really about more on the user side of things, right, like shadow IT. Do you know anything about shadow IT? No? Okay. So let's say you work for a company, right? Then you have company say, oh, you cannot use Facebook, okay? Or maybe you cannot use your personal Google Drive, right? Then, oh, because somebody is higher up there in the rank, right, say that I need to have my personal Facebook and also Google. Okay, then, you start to use, they relax on the policies and all that, right? Basically, of course, this is something we call shadow IT. The other one is basically finding another way to overcome, circumvent, get over your challenges. So there are many ways to get around there, right? To make your life more easier. I give you one example, right? Really is like shared drive, right? Personal shared drive is very dangerous. You don't know what you're sharing. Sometimes you do not know who actually the recipient is. And if you're not careful, right, you may have personal information that's too sensitive that you share out there. How do we control that? Generally, then buy another technology, right? Of course. You buy another technology, another product, another brand. So basically, what we are saying that, hey, how about if we introduce another way of addressing this problem, right? Now you already have our platform technology. Just subscribe to the service, right? And then you get this capability, able to identify the threats, address shadow IT problems, really enforce certain controls and also compliance in the organization. That is how actually we play our part. And on top of that, right, again, is that you see over here, this thing, this circle, it means something, right? I talk about continuous verification and continuous security inspection. This is part of Zero Trust, okay? I just want to call out, right, a couple of things, right? And on top circle, you see, right, there's a user ID, device, and app ID. This is exactly what we can do today with our next generation firewall platform and also our SASE solution, right? Be it software, hardware, next gen firewall, right? Really, we are able to identify application, users, and device. Is it good enough? Nope. We go one step further, right, by actually continuously, right, providing security inspection. End of the day, right, if your device posture changes, if your behavior changes at any point in time, right, you are rest assured that your access will be cut off. It's the same treatment, right, whether you are using the cloud, right, whether you're connecting from the on-prem or whatnot. This is our way of supporting or protecting our customers' environment. So interesting, so far we have what they call the CASB, which is our that preventing shadow IT and whatnot, or SaaS applications. Now we have enterprise DLP. Again, what was the difference from from the other players out there really is, in the past, I think when they talk about DLP, whether maybe some of you may not be familiar with ICAP, right? These kind of protocols, but we make it a lot simpler, right? Consumable to the customers, to the users, because it's all into one single platform again, right? It's no longer another hardware, another piece of console that you need to manage. It's managed from the same console that you manage the platform. So much simpler to address, to learn, right? The learning curve becomes flatter in that sense. And of course, right, the question is, how are we different from our competition? Obviously, is that we are not the household names, right? I won't name names, but at the very minimum, right, what we do is we can guarantee or ensure our customer that we can protect their data, right? Using exact data matching, the optical character recognition. These are the very common things that we need to have, by the way. And last but not least is natural language processing. So these are something that we are introducing into our DLP to make it smarter, right? Because sometimes, right, when it comes to a file that we are trying to look for sensitive words, it can be any words in the dictionary, right? Millions of words out there, but then certain words are very tricky. So what happens is that we use natural language processing to help the human help us human, right, to overcome these kind of challenges. Because there are many words out there, sometimes you want to control is very difficult. So we introduce these kind of capabilities so that it becomes much simpler for user to operate. IoT security, again, is it another box? No. We just do it through another subscription. So what you're seeing here really is that we are using a single platform architecture, but the services that we're offering really, right, is all using AI and also machine learning. Interestingly, right, our IoT security is not the same as what other vendors are doing, right? What the vendors are doing out there probably is they're going to put sensors out there in the network, somewhere in the network, so that they can go and pick up some information, and then they will tell you, oh, okay, this is all the list of assets you have, all the equipment, whether it is IoT or OT devices. Now, our firewall is all planted right in the network, right? Everywhere in the network. If we are already there, we are not just a sensor, but actually we can prevent as well. Interesting. Because I can guarantee you out there, right, you talk to 10 OT vendors out there, right, they will tell you, oh, actually we can detect as well, no problem. I can tell you what devices are you using, or what are the stuff, OT device, IoT devices, but then what they cannot do is they cannot prevent. What we do differently is really identify all this, learning all these devices automatically within 48 hours. We learn using machine learning. And then the best part is we can provide automated policy recommendations on the firewall itself, without additional boxes. How cool is that? DNS security, I talked about this right just now, right? I just want to really highlight this. If for some of you, if you are a seller, right, I'm not just preaching about our technology capability. Rest assured, all the adversaries that are doing their cyber attacks are going to use DNS, one way or the other, whether you like it or not. The smarter way of doing this is actually obfuscating already, something we call DNS tunneling. Have you heard about DNS tunneling? Yes? Have you tried before? Experiment? But you know how it works, right? DNS tunneling? Okay, cool. So for those that you do not know what DNS tunneling is doing, right, really is you can have a lot of security controls in your environment. You can block certain things, and then you can block to a certain degree, but then all the bad guys they're so smart that actually they're using the DNS, right, to deliver payload outside, and also bring payload inside. So that is how the bad guys are doing right now. They're so smart they are. Because DNS is something that we cannot block in an organization, correct? Nobody will block DNS. The moment you block DNS, you are literally disconnected to the network, into the internet already. So all these bad guys are using DNS tunneling. What they do is they kind of encode, right, packages or payloads into smaller chunks, and they use DNS protocol to deliver the traffic in and out, which means they have the capability to exfiltrate data, right? They have the capability to deliver malware into the organization. That's how cool they are. And to address the kind of challenges, really, in fact, when it comes to DNS security, no one comes close to Palo Alto Networks, right? Network security, no one comes close to Palo Alto Networks when it comes to DNS security, because just look at within the DNS solution that we offer, right? These are all the number of protection that we can deliver. Malware is one of the things. So I won't kind of talk of all of this. It's just that we have pretty much all the protections that we see organizations are what do you call that, suffering or maybe experiencing today. Domain squatting is one of them. We talk about random domain generation algorithm, dictionary domain generation algorithm, fast fluxing or not. Okay, these are all technical terms. I'm not going to really explain one by one, but really it's more like, if you look at the 5 pillars, right, we have a callbacks of domains, high risk domains, ways that people will kind of use the DNS, right, to hijack, right, your DNS as a customer. And like I said, the DNS tunneling, all stuff is something that we can address as well with our current technology. And we offer this by using subscription, by the way. It's not really another box, right? One single box, IoT, DNS, APT, URL filtering, right? What else? Do you remember? Wildfire, anyway. Okay.
Anyone remember? Want to try?
If you can remember, maybe you can come to our booth. I'll give you a free gift.
Yes. Come, give yourself a try.
Zero trust. Zero trust.
Okay, it's not zero trust. Actually, it's right over here in this screen over here. Right here.
How about you?
You already have the answer. It's over here. Okay. Anyway, thanks for your participation. I try to how much time? How am I doing with time? Okay, so I'm almost there already. Just to talk about AI ops. This is probably the last one that I want to talk about. Our technology using AI ops, right? What does it really mean? It's AI for operations. This is something that is not coined by Palo Alto Networks. It's by Gartner. And what does it do? It really helps to improve operations. Because every time, right, when last time in the past, how do we address the challenges of operations is, for example, your hardware is reaching a plateauing, right, when it reaches resource exhaustion. Are you able to tell whether the firewall or the equipment that you manage is going to kaput? Very hard unless you have some monitoring tool. Even if you have monitoring tool, right, there is no benchmark when the firewall is going to kaput. You just do not know. What we're doing is, with the telemetries we're gathering from our hardwares, right, like a next generation firewall, it gets, it's being used, these telemetries are being used, right, to do prediction. On which day your firewall is going to stop because of resource exhaustion. On which day your CPU is going to increase to this certain percent, and then it'll impact your production. That is the kind of predictability that we're able to bring, right, with AI. So this is something that we are trying to we are already introduced to the market. And on top of that is really the other part is the best practices. Every time, right, I can guarantee you, like, for example, maybe may not applicable to you guys, right? If you work for organization, probably if you are becoming, you are a security analyst, something, right? Or maybe your operation. Your boss will ask you, hey, how good is our firewall? Configuration okay? Yeah, I think okay, boss. Where's the report? No, I don't know, boss. I'll give you next month. So, really, how do we keep up with all these best practices is really real time, right? The moment you configure a firewall, whether it is following your best practices, you can get the information right away. How cool is that, right? And the other one is really getting the insights of the firewall efficacy as well. For example, right, you may have subscribed to a lot of services from Palo Alto Networks. Then we'll tell you, hey, actually, you already purchased this firewall, this solution, this platform, right? But you do not turn on these particular features. We see only 60% of your policies are actually using turn on with this security protection. Why not all, right? There should not be a reason why you do not turn on, right? So these are the things that we are able to deliver or help our customer when it comes to operationalizing their security platform. Okay? Cool. I'm done. I hope I'm on time. Maybe I'll overrun a little bit, right?
Yes, definitely. The best one, the last presentation of the day. Thank you very much, Mr. Aaron Chan, for your wonderful presentation. Please accept this coffee sponsored by Layard KL
Oh, awesome.
for your evening. Yeah. All right. Is there any question from the ground? No question. Oh, meaning that your presentation is well done.
You guys are from which organization?
Can I know you guys from which organization? Can you just introduce your name and just your organization?
Hi, I'm Izami, but I'm a student actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Irfan. I'm from KPMG.
Okay.
All right.
KPMG student, your best friend. Oh, I see. Okay, have you visited our booth? You have. So you've taken the goodies ready, huh?
Not yet.
Come over, maybe I'll pass over you something.
All right. Okay, sure.
Because I kind of like your energy because you attended to throughout. I know I'm between you and maybe your bus or maybe you're going back home, right? So do drop by. We are open. Thank you.
All right, anyone wants to share anything? Okay, all right. That's the end of the session. Thank you very much for here. Okay. Most welcome.